Okay, good afternoon, student. Once again, I welcome you all for this class. Today, we're going to see one more design, that is a design of cantilever beam. Okay, so in the previous sessions, we have studied singly reinforced beam, design of singly reinforced beam, then design of doubly reinforced beam, then we have seen design of T beam. Okay, so all these were simply supported. Okay, simply supported beam, that is simply supported singly reinforced beam, then simply supported doubly reinforced beam, then simply supported T beam. Okay, now let us see if the beam is a cantilever beam, then what are the changes you can make in the design. Okay, so first of all, we already know that what you mean by cantilever beam. Okay, a beam in which one end is fixed and another end will be free. Okay, the beam which is fixed at one end and free at the other end is termed as cantilever beam. Okay, so where these cantilever beams are provided, especially if you see the entrance of a building. Okay, so the slab will be extended. Okay, and the slab will be resting on the beam. Okay, and and this canopy, normally we call it as a canopy. Okay, canopy or a chajja slab. So it is used to park the vehicle or car. Okay, so that beam is a cantilever beam which will be fixed at one end and free at the other end. Okay, so how the design changes from simply supported beam to cantilever beam. Okay, now, cantilever beams are designed for the maximum moment and shear forces developed at the supports. Now, this is important. This point we have to remember. So, in simply supported beam, what happens? The maximum bending moment will be at the center and maximum shear forces will be at the supports. But when you consider the cantilever beams, in cantilever beams, the maximum bending moment will be at fixed end. Remember, maximum bending moment as well as maximum shear force both will be at supports. Okay, at free end, okay, bending moment will be 0, shear force will be 0. Okay, but at the fixed end, okay, the bending moment will be maximum as well as shear force will be maximum. So that is the one major change if you compare with the simply supported beam. So in cantilever beam, the maximum bending moment will be at the fixed end and shear force is also maximum at the fixed end. Okay, so therefore the maximum moments and shear forces developed at the supports, which is normally a reinforced concrete column. Now see example. So this is the beam now. So beam is supported with a column. Okay, so there is a column. So this column and beam will be combined together. So this is fixed end for the beam and this is free end. So over this there will be a load. Okay, so this beam is known as cantilever beam, and in this cantilever beam we have to calculate maximum bending moment and maximum shear force at the supports. This is important. Okay, now see, when the load comes on this beam, now see, this is a fixed end and this is the beam subjected to UDL. When this load comes, how this beam bends? See, here it is fixed. Okay, it will not going to bend like this, but here it is free end, it will going to bend like this. Okay, so the bending shape will be like this. And one more important thing is, so bending moment will be maximum at this point, shear force is also maximum at this point. And now next important thing is, you have seen reinforcement, where the reinforcement is provided in cantilever beam. Okay, so as you know, in simply supported beam, okay, the main reinforcement is provided at the bottom, because in simply supported beam, bottom side will be the tension side or tension face and top it is a compression face, but in cantilever it is reverse. Now see, when the beam bends like this, when this cantilever beam bends like this, the tension comes at the top. Okay, the tension face will be at the top and this bottom will be compression face. Now if you want to provide the main reinforcement, where it will be provided now, where the tension comes, that there we have to provide the reinforcement. So at the top, the main reinforcement is provided in the cantilever beam. Remember, this is most important. Okay, so at the top, tension side comes and the main bars are provided at the top. So instead of top, if you provide the main steel at the bottom, your this cantilever beam will going to fail. Okay, so remember, whenever we are providing the cantilever beam, or it may be cantilever beam or it may be cantilever slab, that is a cantilever slab or cantilever chajja. Okay, the main reinforcement will be provided at the top, not at the bottom. Bottom, just hanger bars will be provided or nominal steel will be provided, but your main reinforcement should be provided at top of the beam in cantilever portion beam. Okay, this is one major thing you have to observe. So one is main reinforcement at the top. Okay, then now maximum bending moment and maximum shear force will be at the supports. So these 2 points you have to remember for the cantilever beam. Now what about the maximum bending moment? So in cantilever, tension side is at top and compression side is at the bottom. Therefore, in cantilever beam, main steel is provided at the top. So main steel will be provided at top, and shear, whatever this red line is seeing, this is the main steel, okay, provided at the top, because tension side comes at the top, and this will be the hanger bars, 2 numbers. Okay, just for support, these 2 bars are provided at the bottom, and all these will be tied together as usual with the shear reinforcement in the form of, these are in the form of stirrups. Okay, now next, now when you consider this cantilever beam, so as I told, the maximum bending moment will be at the fixed end. This, now see here, it is fixed. So the maximum bending moment at fixed end or at the supports, and it is given by, so in simply supported it is WL square by 8. Okay, in simply supported beam, the maximum bending moment at the center, it is WL square by 8. But for cantilever, where is the maximum bending moment? At the supports. So maximum bending moment at the support for cantilever beam, and it is given by WL square by 2. Remember, WL square by 2. This is the maximum bending moment at the fixed end, okay, or at the supports. Now where is the shear force maximum? Again it will be at the support only. So maximum shear force at the support, now it is Vu is equal to W into L. So in simply supported, what you have taken shear force at the support, it is WL by 2. But here it is W into L. Bending moment is WL square by 2. Maximum shear force is W into L only. W into L. Okay, these things you remember. Then let us start with the one problem. We are going to design a cantilever beam. So design a cantilever beam using the following data. So given data are clear span 3 meter, okay, working live load 15 kilonewton per meter. Then cantilever beam is monolithic with reinforced concrete column 300 mm wide, 600 mm deep, okay, at the junction of the column and beam. Now see, this is a given thing, clear span. Now see, there is a column here, the vertical compression member. This is a column, and for this beam, the column is a support. Okay, now for this beam, this column will be acting as a support, and here it is fixed. Okay, it is fixed. This end of the beam will be free. The column size is given. It is 300 by 600. Now the column will be having 2 dimensions. One is width of the column, another will be depth of the column. Depth means it is not the length. Okay, width and depth of the column. Now see, this is the depth of the column. Width will be like this. This is 300. When you cut this beam, whatever you are seeing, this is width of beam. So width of beam is equal to width of column. Okay, so this is width of column as well as width of the beam. So this is the support, this is the beam we will going to design. Clear span means from outer edge of this column to the up to the free end. This L, capital L equal to 3 meter. Okay. Next, so clear span L is equal to 3 meter or 3000 mm. Then column size, this column size 300 mm by 600. This is 600. Like this, it is 300. Then M20 grade concrete, that is 20 Newton per mm square. Fy equal to 415 Newton per mm square. Now let us recall the steps. As usual, first you have to fix the cross-sectional dimension of beam, that is width of beam, capital D, then effective depth of the beam we are going to calculate. So now remember, in simply supported beam, what you have taken? L by D ratio. For simply supported beam, L by D ratio you have taken as 20. Okay, and same thing we have discussed when it is a cantilever beam, then L by D, that is effective span divided by effective depth, will be taken as 7. For cantilever it is 7. Okay, for simply supported we have taken 20, but for cantilever L by D ratio is equal to 7. So therefore D is equal to what? D is equal to L by 7. So that is L is 3000 mm divided by 7. So D comes out as 428 mm. Okay, effective depth 428 mm, or round off to this higher value. Okay, round off to next higher value. I can take it as a 450 mm is the effective depth. Okay, so now how we will calculate overall depth capital D? For this we will going to add a roughly effective cover, that is you can add 50 mm to this, we will get capital D. So therefore capital D is equal to what? That is assuming 50 mm cover, right, effective cover, overall depth is equal to what? 450 plus this, that is 500, this is 500, 450 plus 50 mm, that is 500. Okay, capital D 500 or 550 mm, whatever you can take note. Okay, right. Next, now width of beam. So width of beam you can assume as usual what you assumed in the previous case also. So width of column is given 300 mm. So it is nothing but width of the beam. So this is width of the beam, B is equal to 300 mm, and this capital D we have already calculated now. Okay, so this is the effective depth, and then this is the overall depth of the beam. So these are the final dimensions. B is equal to 300 mm, small d is equal to 500 mm, and capital D is equal to 550 mm. Okay, this is the first step. Only change is this L by D ratio. For cantilever beam you have to take 7. Okay. Then the second step will be as usual calculation of the loads, that is ultimate load WU. First self weight of the beam. So what is the self weight of this beam now? Self weight, that is B, okay, width of beam, capital D, depth of the beam into density. Okay, B into D into density of RCC. So B is 0.3 meter, capital D is 0.55 meter, then density of RCC is 25 kilonewton per meter cube. So this is 3.75 kilonewton per meter. That is self weight of the beam or own weight of the beam. Then second is live load. It is given in the problem 15 kilonewton per meter. Okay. Then roughly you can assume finishes. Even if you don't include this also, no problem. But let us finishes around 1.25 kilonewton per meter. Okay, so add all these three, 3.75 plus 15 plus 1.25. This total small w it is, okay, 20 kilonewton per meter. Okay, so therefore factored load or ultimate load is equal to multiply 1.5. So we'll get WU. So WU is equal to 20 into 1.5, that is 30 kilonewton per meter. So this is the second step where we're going to calculate the total load WU. Now the third is the maximum bending moment and maximum shear force. So once you get total load, calculate the maximum bending moment. Now this is a cantilever beam we are designing, where the maximum bending moment at the fixed end or the support is given by, already we know that, so mu is equal to WL square by 2. Okay, don't take WL square by 8. If it is simply supported, it is WL square by 8. But if it is a cantilever beam, maximum bending moment at supports is equal to WL square by 2. So W is 30 into L. Okay, span 3 square divided by 2. So it is 135 kilonewton meter. Okay, 135 kilonewton meter will be the maximum bending moment at the support. Similarly, maximum shear force at the support. Okay, so where is the shear force maximum? It is also at the fixed end. So and it is given by WU into L. W into L. That is WU into L. WU is 30 total load into span is 3 meter. So therefore VU is equal to 90 kilonewton. So total maximum shear force at the support is 90 kilonewton. So this is the understand. Now we'll calculate whether this beam, whether we have to design it is a singly reinforced beam or doubly reinforced beam. No doubt it is a cantilever, but whether it is a singly reinforced beam or doubly reinforced cantilever beam, you have to check. For that we'll calculate MU limit. So for Fe415 grade steel, MU limit is equal to 0.138 FCK BD square. Okay, 0.138 FCK is 20, B is 300 and small d it is 450 square. Okay, so therefore MU limit is equal to 167 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. Okay, 167 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm or 167 kilonewton meter. Now comparing MU and MU limit. Okay, comparing MU and MU limit, this value, this 135, this is 167, which is more, this MU limit is more. So since this MU is less than MU limit, the beam is designed as singly reinforced beam. Again here in the problem it is not given, just they have mentioned design the cantilever. So this cantilever may be singly reinforced or it may be doubly reinforced, but as per the check what we get, since MU is less than MU limit, this beam will be designed as singly reinforced cantilever beam. Is it clear? Okay, right. Next step is, once if we get this MU, now we have to calculate the area of steel, main steel. So first that percentage of steel will be calculated, that is PT is equal to this formula, already you know this. So substitute all the values here. 50 into bracket 1 minus under the root of 1 minus 4.6 MU. So MU is 135, it is into 10 raised to 6 means Newton mm divided by FCK is 20, B is 300, small d 450 square divided by 415 divided by 20. So this comes out, that is PT. PT means percentage of steel. This much percentage of main steel is required. That is 0.725%. Okay, 0.725% main steel is required. But what we want area of steel and number of bars. So how to find out area of steel? Area of steel is equal to AST PT by 100, percentage divided by 100 into B into D, gross, that is cross section area. So PT by 100, B into D. So PT is 0.725 divided by 100 into B, width of beam into effective depth of beam. So it comes out 980. Okay, it comes out 980 mm square. 980 mm square will be the total area of main steel is required. Okay, and we want number of bars. So how to calculate number of bars? So for this total AST we have to assume the area of 1 bar. So assuming 25 mm diameter bar. So it is not necessary that I am assuming 25. Okay, so even you have to assume 25. No, So you can assume 16 mm diameter bar, 18 mm diameter bar, 20 mm diameter bar, 22 mm diameter bar, like that. Okay, right. So let us I am assuming it is 25 mm diameter bars. So number of bars is equal to total EST, that is 980, divided by area of one bar, that is pi by 4 25 square, pi by 4 d square, diameter square. So two numbers are required. So provide two bars. Okay, provide two bars of which diameter, 25 mm diameter, as a main steel, and important is at the top tension phase. This is important. Till now the main steel is provided in the bottom, but in cantilever beam the main steel will be provided at top. So these two bars will be provided at the top of the beam. Okay, then at the bottom nominal, as I said, provide two bars of 12 mm diameter, at the bottom compression face as a hanger bars. Okay, right. So this is regarding reinforcement. Now let us check whether the shear reinforcement are required or not. For this we have to calculate first nominal shear stress, that is tau v. So stress is equal to stress is equal to what? Force divided by area. Shear force divided by area, that is VU upon BD. So VU is 90 kilonewton, multiply 1000, it is 90 Newton, divided by B into D. So nominal shear stress tau V is equal to 0.66 Newton per mm square. Okay, 0.66 Newton per mm square. Then percentage of steel, what main percentage? Main steel you have to see. How much percentage of steel we are providing? Percentage of steel, main steel provided, that is PT is equal to AST upon BD into 100. Okay, PT is equal to AST upon BD into 100. Now see here. Here AST we have found out. Okay, so PT is equal to what? PT is equal to AST into 100 divided by BD. That formula you have to remember. So AST is equal to PT is equal to AST upon BD into 100. So what is AST? How much you are providing? We are providing two bars, main bars we are talking about. 2 bars into pi by 4 25 square divided by 300 into 450 mm into 100. So this comes out 0.72%. Okay, 0.72% of steel we are providing. Okay, now referring table number 19. Okay, already we have seen in the previous problems also. Refer table number 19 of IS 456 2000. Go to page number 73. Okay, go to page number 73 and table number 19, where first you have to see 0.72% PT. For 0.72%, what will be the permissible shear stress, or it is titled as design shear strength of concrete. Okay, permissible shear stress or design strength of concrete, that is tau C. This is nominal shear stress. This is permissible shear stress. Tau C is equal to, for this 0.72%, it is 0.55 Newton per mm square. Okay, so tau C is 0.55 Newton per mm square. Tau V is 0.66 Newton per mm square. Means on the beam, how much shear stress is coming? 0.66. Okay, then what will be the concrete? It will going to take maximum how much? 0.55. Okay, whether shear reinforcement is required or not, compare this tau V and tau C. So which is greater? Tau V. So tau V, that is nominal shear stress, is greater than permissible shear stress. So when tau V is greater than tau C, shear reinforcements are required. Remember, this is important step. Okay, when tau V is greater than tau C, shear reinforcements are required. Okay, your next step will be design of shear reinforcement. Okay, that is, we are going to design the stirrups now. Now what is the total shear force VU? We have calculated. It is 90 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. So out of this total 90 into 10 raised to 3 Newton, some amount of shear will be taken by concrete. So how much it will going to take? shear taken by concrete is equal to tau c into BD. Okay, tau c is 0.55 300 mm into 450 mm. So that is 74,250 Newton. So this is what? So this is the force taken by the concrete. So the concrete will going to take how much shear force? This 74,250 out of 90,000. Out of 90,000, concrete will going to take this much. Then remaining is balance shear. Okay, balance shear to be taken by stirrups. Okay, so total shear force coming on the beam and minus shear taken by the concrete, that is balance shear equal to Vu minus tau c into Bd. This is tau c into Bd. So 90 into 10 raised to 3 minus 74,250. So the balance shear force will be what? Vus is equal to 15,750 Newton. So who will going to take this shear force? This will be taken by this shear reinforcement, which are in the form of stirrups. Okay. Now find out the spacing now. Okay, once this balance shear is known, to take this balance shear, first assume the bar diameter of the stirrups. So normally 8 mm or 10 mm diameter bars will be assumed for the stirrups. So using 8 mm diameter two-legged stirrups, hope you already know this two-legged stirrups, 8 mm diameter two-legged stirrups, then spacing equal to, okay, spacing equal to SV 0.87 Fy ASP into D divided by Vus, that is balance shear. So 0.87 Fy is 415. ASP, what is this ASP? This will be area of stirrups. Okay, area of stirrups. So 2, why this 2 is multiplied? Because it is two-legged. Okay, 2 into pi by 4 d square. What is the diameter we are assuming? 8. So this area will be ASV. So 2 we have multiplied because the stirrups are two-legged. So 2 into pi by 4 8 square into D, effective depth is 450 divided by Vus, this balance shear force. So therefore spacing equal to 1031 mm. Spacing of stirrups equal to 1031 mm. But we cannot provide this stirrups. Okay, what code says? Spacing of stirrups should be least of the following. Okay, the stirrup spacing should be least of the following. So one is this spacing 1031. Second is spacing equal to 0.75 into effective depth, that is 0.75 into 450, 337.5 mm. Then the third will be 300 mm. So out of these three, whichever will be the least value, that will be the spacing, final spacing. So which is least now? This 300 mm. So therefore you can write, therefore provide 8 mm diameter we have assumed, 8 mm diameter two-legged stirrups at spacing of how much? 300 mm center to center as shear reinforcement. Okay, so this is another important step. Next is check for deflection. Last check, that is deflection we have to check. For this L by D maximum, first we are going to calculate. So L by D maximum is equal to L by D basic value into KT into KC into KF. Okay, so what is the percentage of steel PT? Percentage of steel PT, that is the main reinforcement what we have provided at the top, it is 0.72. Okay, so percentage of steel is 0.727%. Okay, so referring now figure number 4. Okay, again you go back to the IS 456. Okay, figure number 4 for getting the KT value, that is modification factor for tension reinforcement. So KT is equal to 1.08. Now see, it is not doubly reinforced beam. Okay, compression reinforcement is not there. It is not doubly reinforced beam. So directly you can take KC is equal to 1. And it is not a T beam. So write KF is equal to 1. So KC and KF are 1 here. So KT we have found out from figure number 4 of IS 456 2000. So now substitute. So L by D maximum is equal to L by D basic, KT, KC and KF. So L by D basic, see in the beginning we have assumed for cantilever L by D ratio is how much? It is, see here. So L by D is 7. This is the basic we have assumed. So L by D basic is 7. Then KT is 1.08. This KT is 1.08. KC is 1. KF is 1. So we'll get L by D maximum is 7.56. Okay. Effective span by effective depth maximum is 7.56. Now how much actually we are providing L by D ratio? So L by D actual or providing is equal to L is span, that is 3000 mm, then divided by effective depth is 450. So this is 6.66. So actually it can take up to L by D maximum ratio how much? 7.56, but how much it is coming? 6.66. So L by D actual is less than L by D maximum, means up to this it is acceptable, but actually it is coming less only, no problem, there is no deflection. So deflections are within the control. So since L by D actual is less than L by D maximum, hence the deflection control is satisfied. Okay. Now last step is you have to show the reinforcement. So whatever the reinforcement you have provided or calculated, one is main steel at the top, then bottom 2 bars, hanger bars, then these are the vertical stirrups. Okay, 8 mm 2-legged stirrups. Now see, this is a column, this is a beam, this span, cantilever span is 3 meter. Okay, whatever you are seeing, this top bar is main now, main bar it is, main steel. 2 bars of this here, 2 bars. When you see from this front, you are going to see these 2 bars. But when you see from this longitudinal section, only 1 bar you can see. Behind that, 1 more bar will be there. So this top bar is main steel, 2 bars of 25 mm diameter. Then this, okay, bottom 2 bars, okay, bottom 2 bars, that is 12 mm diameter, hanger bars or anchor bars. Okay, then all these will be tied together with stirrups. So these are these vertical stirrups, what you are seeing, 8 mm diameter 2-legged stirrups at 300 mm center to center. Okay, right. Now see, one more important thing, this main bar, okay, will be extended and it will be bent and it will be taken into the column. So if you provide only this much, right, if you cut the bar here, main steel, then what happens, this column and beam will going to act separately. Okay, they will going to act separately, then there will be a crack at this point. So if you don't take this main bar inside the column, always you have to take the main bar of the beam and it is extended and it is taken into the column. So see, this bar up to this, it is a fixed end. From here also this bar will be extended. Then again this bottom hanger bars also extended and it is taken into the column, and these are the stirrups. So this is important here. One is main bars here comes at the top, bottom anchor bars and stirrups as usual we will going to get. Then one more important thing you have to remember, bending moment is WU L² by 2. Right? Then maximum shear force at the supports is W into L. So these are the things you can remember. Now this module 3 we have completed, that is we have started with the design of singly reinforced beam, then we have completed design of doubly reinforced beam, then we have completed design of T-beam or flanged beam, and today we are completing design of cantilever beam. So out of these 4, okay, any one problem you will going to get in the examination, that is in module number 3, full 20 marks question will be there, design problem will be there. Either they will going to ask singly reinforced beam design, doubly reinforced beam design, T beam design, or cantilever beam design. Okay, so this is what the module number 3, design of beams. So let us hope you understood all these 4 designs. Okay, don't think that this is only necessary for the exam purpose, right? Okay, it is not like that. Okay, even after completion of your engineering, wherever you will go, whatever the company you will going to join, especially the construction company, they will going to ask you to design the beam. Okay, design the beam, design the column, design the staircase, design the slab. Okay, design the foundation, like that. So here in this semester we are dealing with the single elements. Now I hope you are perfect with the beam now. Okay, it may be singly reinforced beam, it may be doubly reinforced beam, it may be T beam, or it may be cantilever beam. Okay, so solve once again all these 4 problems. Okay, then in the next class we come up with the next module, that is module number 4. We'll take up with the design of slabs. Okay, how the design of slab will be continued. So why I am telling this is, now here if you want to design the slab, you should know the design of beam. Almost 99.9 steps. Okay, 99.9% of the steps are same. The design of beam and design of slab is almost same. Okay, if you understand thoroughly the design of beam, then there will be no problem in design of slab. Okay, so with this I thank you all for attending this session. So if any doubts are there, you can call me, but solve once again all these 4 design problems. Okay, so once again thank you very much. Have a good day.